next year, the comedy troupe I started when I was in school with my best friend turns 30. Fucking 30. And related to that is this week's special stream, because it's almost 20 years to the very day. Yesterday, well, I should point out when we're recording this, tonight is May 9th. No, that's the actual date. Tonight is May 10th, 2024. The actual anniversary is May 9th. It was yesterday, but yesterday was a Thursday, and we don't normally do shows on Thursdays, so I just figured, we'll just bump it up a day. Who was that? Duff! Give me this. Greetings. He's subscribed for 4 months. He just says greetings, Draco. Goose is in chat. Time flies. He remembers sitting in his high school computer lab talking with me for the first time. That would have been like 2003. The Ace Uplink days, man. I got a story to tell tonight, and Goose is involved. He's gonna be the man of the hour, because without his involvement, pretty much all of what we're doing on tonight's stream wouldn't exist in the capacity that it does. So he's also getting special thanks credits when this goes on IMDb. When this episode goes up. You remember watching me when Your Level Sucks was new. That's almost 10 years ago. It's almost been a decade. I gotta do some. I want to do something for Your Level Sucks next year too, but I'm already working on it. But anyways, May 9th, red letter day for me. To tell this story, we gotta go back in time to 1995. Okay, Bill Clinton is in office getting blowies, and my best friend Adam and I decide to start a little comedy troupe, and we called ourselves FUCK Radio. Now the name makes sense when you say it out loud. When you see it on paper, it's just like capital fuck and then radio, and nobody ever said it correctly like it's the radio's call sign. Right? You know how it's like what's that show? WKRP in Cincinnati? That's for a television station, but radios and television stations followed the same like naming convention. Even Chris Chan had a make-believe radio station, KCWC, playing all the hits like So Need a Cute Girl. They played that one a lot. But we called ourselves FUCK Radio, and we basically just screwed around and told jokes at like recess and acted out little skits, and just write what you know. We played a lot of video games. Adam and I bonded over video games. We had a mutual fondness for Sonic the Hedgehog. And a lot of our early jokes and material was like joking about. I can't really remember a lot of it. We wrote some of this down, but like our parents and teachers kept taking it and throwing it away. We did have the official FUCK Radio magazine for a while in the mid 90s. That was like a handmade zine that we passed around, and people would lose pages and it would get damaged, and then a teacher would find it, and then we'd get in trouble for it. So there isn't a lot of stuff from that era that is extant, as you might say. But one thing Adam and I decided to do was we started recording all of our jokes to cassette tapes. And if you'll give me a second, just so happen to have the master tapes in my possession. The oldest tape is this one. The oldest tape is nearly 30 years old. Actually, I think all the tapes are 30 years old because they came from the same set of blank tapes. We just recorded them at different points in time. So, this first one, the homemade labels, these were in my garage when Hurricane Harvey made landfall. And I lost a lot of shit because of that storm. I had to throw away a lot of good stuff that got ruined. A lot of things that meant a lot to me. The entire videotape library from some of my, well, not my earliest YouTube shows, but like the ones I made in the late 2000s and early 2010s. I had to, those tapes all got ruined and everything else. I went out of my way to dig through all of the rubble with gloves on and protection to find every single one of these tapes, and I meticulously took care of them to dry them out so they would still work, because out of everything that happened in the aftermath of that storm, I knew these tapes were in my garage, and out of everything in there, these meant the most to me. These were the one thing that I absolutely was unwilling to lose in that storm. Where I found them was not where I left them. I literally just myself made a big deal about it, looked for these tapes, and I found all three of them. So the little paper things are damaged, but you know, the tapes are fine. So this tape right here, wow, it's all yellowed and crap. The label sucks. This stuff right here, 30 years ago, almost, we recorded our jokes to tape. And we named this tape Andre and Adam's Stupid Stuff. And this was our first release. What we did with this is it was kind of an organic thing. Adam and I would visit this tape multiple times over the months. This was 1995, by the way. We decided to record this. And we recorded, 15 minutes of material on it. And then we would pass the tape around to our classmates. They would listen to it. They'd tell us it was fun. Whatever. You give it to a friend. They take it home. They put it in their Walkman. They listen to the shit, fuck, fart jokes. And we're saying bad words. And we're kids. And it's funny. And then they would give the tape back to us. And then eventually, one weekend, Adam would ride his bike over, and we would go to the end of the tape, and then record like 15, 20 more minutes onto the tape, and then pass the tape around again. And we would just, basically over the course of, half a year or so, we built out a spoken word comedy album. That's kind of what I see it as, retroactively. And so we did. And then once we filled the tape, we just kind of passed around the full tape for like a year. We just didn't record new material. We just had a full tape, both sides, and did that. And then in 1997, we got together and decided to make another tape. This one is called Adventures and Shit. Censored on our Spotify profile because it has, bad language. Also, by 1997, we had changed our name to Radio F, which is what it persists as to this day. We still go by that name because nobody could understand FUCK radio, and plus, you couldn't really get away with writing that anywhere. When we said Radio F, we kind of flew under the radar, and most people didn't know. I think Zags just subscribed. Okay, Zags, my man, Prime sub. Oh, oh no, oh Jeffrey. Oh, hang on, is he just clogged? Okay, good. He had a case of having too much money. Relatable, right? Relatable. Sometime between 1995 and 1997, we started going by Radio F because, you know, FUCK Radio drew too much attention. In fact, I think the handmade magazine I mentioned earlier that we passed around, I think when we were doing that, it was called Radio F magazine. You know, so the cover wasn't immediately obvious. You were reading Offensive Drek. And the reason why this one is called Adventures and Shit, there's a lot of material on here that I guess in a sense you would call it like crack fan fiction. Like, because we played a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog. This was 1997. What was out in 1997? Bubsy was out, but we didn't fucking talk about Bubsy. Gex, the lizard, he was a thing in 1997. We have a couple remarks about him on this tape. And one of the things we did is we would kind of like come up with these like hypothetical scenarios that video game characters would be in and make them say or do funny things that would be out of character. So sometimes we would put ourselves into those stories, right? So that's why this was called Adventures and Shit. And this was 1997. We did the same thing. We would record, 15 minutes onto the tape, pass it around. That was the thing. We went by the honor system. Nobody we gave the tape to ever taped over it. They never taped anything onto it. They would just listen to the tape and then politely return it. Or they basically, sometimes when people would take the tapes and pass them around, they wouldn't immediately give them back to us. They would give them to a friend who then maybe that person would give it back to us. Basically, amazingly, we never lost any tapes. We only ever had just the one tape, and we did 3 of them, because you can see there's a third one sitting right here. They always made their way back to us. And then this last one, we actually changed the name of it, because as we were recording it, this was 1999. Pokemon was out by this point, and there is Pokemon content on this tape. Just a little bit. We actually were calling this one Stupid Stuff Part 2, but as we recorded onto it, we felt a certain nostalgic yearning for our roots, and we decided to make this one an eponymous tape. However, instead of calling it Radio F, which is what we were still going by, we named this tape FUCK Radio. And this was this wound up being the third and final tape that Adam and I would make. We kind of grew apart. We had a falling out around the end of the year, 2000 or something. I'm trying to remember what happened. I think he actually like ripped me off in like a Pokemon card trade, and I got mad, and then we just didn't talk anymore. Like after all that, we just didn't, That's it. But this tape is incomplete. It's not full. Like these first two, whoops. They're very fragile too. I don't know how long these tapes actually are. I just know that this third one is incomplete. It's only about half done, so this was a shorter thing. We also didn't pass this tape around very much. Kind of got back to us same year. But those are the 3 tapes. And I sat on them for a long time. And in 2003, me and my friend Casey, who you will see him in videos tonight, he kind of became Adam's replacement. Radio F wasn't really like when Adam and I broke up and went our separate ways in 1999. That was kind of the end of Radio F. We didn't. Neither of us continued to pursue it. But in 2003, my friend Casey got a micro tape recorder, and we started fucking around doing stupid things, and we never released any of the material, and the tape is lost now because Casey lost it. But we decided to start recording material for like a 4th Radio F tape with me and Casey being the co-host instead, and that one was called Who Says. and that one never got released. So I'm gonna kind of jump the gun here. Leatherface has asked, have I ever tried contacting Adam? He and I made amends. We are in touch again, and it's funny that you asked that question as I bring up Casey, because Casey and I recorded music together, and if you look at Radio F on Spotify, Spotify doesn't accept spoken word albums anymore. They just don't. So this stuff is not on Spotify, and it probably won't be because, I'm a little sensitive to it. But the music we made is on there, and we reused the name Radio F because, why not? So there are a couple of releases on Spotify, and it's just the music. But it's funny you bring him up, it's funny you bring up contacting Adam after I've introduced Casey, because I am in touch with him, and we're in the preliminary discussions for me, him, and Casey to reunite. So we all still geographically kind of live in the same area. We're going to reunite for Radio F's 30th anniversary next year, and we would like to release another album of content. It's going to be a mixture of kind of musical stuff, because that's kind of what Casey did. He brought the music into the group, and then Adam and I did the comedy, and I did comedy and music, so I'm kind of the everything goes guy. So it's the three of us together are going to try to put something together for next year. We'll see how that goes. We'll have an updated picture on Spotify too. It'll be the first time all three of us will have been photographed at the same time. It's 2004. I am flying solo. Still wanting to. I'm not really a part of the. I'm not really doing Radio F anymore. But I still want to make stuff. I still want to write comedy. I still want to do goofy things. I still want to be creative. And at the time, the thing that's popular online is sarcastically reviewing shitty old retro games on the NES, which at the time were like 10 to 15 years old. Wow. So you had the elites like Sean Baby and the curators or the columnists of Something Awful's The Rom Pit. Those were kind of the trailblazers, and I wanted to follow in their footsteps. So I decided to start writing about video games, which is something I was kind of already doing with Radio F. And I decided to write an article. And the first one I wrote was for the game The Adventures of Bayou Billy on the NES. And I finished this article, and nobody would take it. I was on my own. I was just doing my own thing. I started a free website, and I needed a place. I needed a name for it. So I was like, well, it's going to be Radio F because I'm doing comedy stuff, and that's just what this is. So it became... Well, at the time... Okay. Minor adjustment. I was making PC game mods back in like 2003 for Robot Arena 2, and I'm like, it's going to be Radio F software. There you go. So technically the group was operating under the name Radio F Software, and that was also my username at the time. So the website was going to be a place for all my crap, and it became Radio F Software Headquarters, or as the title of the stream says, RFSHQ. The very easy to remember acronym. Guys, just rolls right off the tongue. RFSHQ. You could say it, like butter. And because I was in high school, I did not have a credit card. I did not have, I could not afford a .com or the hosting plan required to use a .com. So what did I do? By golly, I went to the free place everybody went to back in 2004. .tk. So the fucking website URL was rfshq.com. No, rfshq.tk. 7 letters in a row, none of them repeating. It's a wonder the website got any traffic at all. You know, it's like, that is probably the badliest named thing I've ever done. And I used to have a video game review show called GMO2. So Goose's Luces is in chat right now. He's watching tonight's stream, and I introduced him as being the man of the hour, because without his eventual involvement in the project, pretty much the majority of what we're going to get into on tonight's stream just would not exist in the capacity that it does. Goose and I met on a Robot Combat fan forum a year prior, and we just hit it off. We both liked the game. We both liked the robots. He was more technologically oriented, and I just wrote, I just wrote shitty articles. And basically, Goose thought the articles I wrote were funny. So I've read the articles since then. So that it means one of two things. Either one, I am genuinely talented, or two, he has a low barrier of entry to his sense of humor. And I was able to cross that barrier. Because he's a few years older than me. So he actually did have the ability to, buy a .com. So he bought RFSHQ.com and also helped me, design a really snazzy looking website. It used to be a thing I made with the GeoCities page builder. GeoCities was still around in 2004, but it was definitely at death's door. And we kind of migrated the content over into a new thing. This was in an era before WordPress, so Goose, this fucking madman, actually cobbled together an entire article content management system that used the forum, the BB code, where you put bracket B bracket blah 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 bracket /B bracket, and then that makes it bold. Using those kind of short codes for text formatting, he designed an entire goddamn system that took that and made sense of it and produced an article. Now you got WordPress, it's just all built in, it's all done. You just type in the WordPress and hit post. But, back in 2005, you had to do it yourself. So, the website looked a lot better when he was able to get involved and do it. And then, there's not really, we got the tapes and other stuff, but there's not really a lot of physical things that I can show off for RFSHQ history like I was able to do with the Robot Combat stuff a few weeks ago. But I did make this. Goose actually recently, within the past year, asked me if I still had this. He wanted a high resolution scan of it. So I scanned it at a resolution so high that I wasn't able to clean it up in my photo editor because the picture was too big. And the system was like, look, man, we're going to have to shrink this down if you want to do anything with it, because otherwise, even though you got 32 gigabytes of memory, this isn't going to work out. Because Goose wanted to get a poster of this, so I don't know if he ever did, but I did fan art of the two of us. Put that. We're furries, except Goose. Goose is not. Goose is not a furry. I drew him as an anthropomorphic goose in this picture because his nickname is Goose, hence, his username, because if it kind of sounds like his last name. So people call him Goose. But, me on the other hand, I definitely had a Fur Affinity account. When was this? Fur Affinity launched in 2005. I definitely had a Fur Affinity account back then. So, that was me on the side. Yeah. Goose says he's a feathery, and I was gonna finish that thought, but Leatherface stepped in and says an avian. That is the name. I'm very sentimental. I'm very sentimental about stuff like this. So, you know, all this to talk about a website I wrote for. I wrote for RFSHQ until 2008, and I regret stepping down from the website. I worked on it for 4 years. I wrote almost 200 articles for RFSHQ. It eventually blossomed out into more than just video games. I started writing about TV shows and movies and bad candy and energy drinks. And we had a popular series about energy drinks that was like 4 or 5 articles long. But I don't talk about this much because it's not something I am proud of. Remember when I showed the little drawing I made of me and Goose, and I was like the dragon on the side? Yeah, I lived a double life as a comedian and as someone who maintained a presence in the furry fandom, and then I kind of got a little too big for my britches halfway through my time in... No, I didn't draw porn. No, I was not a porn... Fucking, you saw the drawing. No, I was not drawing porn of that. But, you know, I kind of became a noteworthy person and decided that I was willing to hedge all my bets on, I guess today you would call it cooming, I think is the term for it. I decided I was going to hedge all my bets on that, and I resigned from RFSHQ, and it was ugly and nasty, and I'm not proud of it. I fucked up, and even when I kind of this is kind of where Gatorbox comes into play, because a few years later, I kind of parlayed my now dwindling stardom into a position as a guest host on this stream before I completely took it over. So in a way, me stepping down from RFSHQ because of the furry coom led me to meet the people that I would eventually establish this stream, that I would then take over from them and become the producer of. So really, we're here tonight because I fucked up like badly, and now we're gonna read an article I wrote 20 years ago yesterday. So now we're kind of, you know, we're up to speed. A lot of stuff happens. One thing that is notable is that what's the early 2000s website, comedy website, without a pre-YouTube era web show? Gotta have one. Turns out, in dating back to 2001, me and my friend Casey, I met him around the turn of the millennium, and the person, Charlie, who is credited as appearing in some of the Gatorbox, the early Gatorboxes. The three of us used to hang out. You know, we lived in the same neighborhood when we were in like high school and middle school and stuff like that. And Charlie had a camcorder. And basically what we decided to do is we started filming these stupid little skits and things we would do of, like, you know, jumping off the swings of the playground and playing pranks on each other and just doing stupid shit. Charlie had the ability to... We recorded on the physical tapes on the camcorder, but he had a fucking like $3,000 Sony Vaio multimedia computer or something like that. The kind of computer that has like the RCA ports and like a TV tuner built into the back of it, so it had a coaxial screw-in terminal, and it was like one of the first computers to have like a FireWire port when they were trying to make that cable a standard thing. So he could take what was on the camcorder and then digitize it onto the computer, and then use like Windows Movie Maker to add those fucking blue screens with the titles. And basically, we started making these stupid videos and released them online. And there was no YouTube. There was not really video hosting websites because this was 2001 and bandwidth was still a major, pain point. So we were very enterprising in getting our content out there. We were all using Kazaa at the time to download music. It's a file sharing platform. You could also use Kazaa to download videos, right? Looking at booby videos, okay? So we took these skits we did, and we changed the file names to like fucking, threesome anal gangbang, hot blonde at the pool getting fucked. We renamed all of our skits to like the worst, the filthiest things. And then we put them on Kazaa and named them like pornographic things and put all kinds of sexual things as the search terms, in the hopes that somebody looking to download an X-rated clip would click on our video and instead be greeted with, me getting hit in the back of the head with a fucking giant-ass plastic baseball bat because I'm trying to pretend to be like a T-ball thing, right? And, my friend Casey intentionally misses and just whacks me in the fucking head. So, we did shit like that. And that was like the only way we had to get it. I have no idea if that strategy even worked. We were just throwing shit into the ether. But eventually, as things tend to happen, there was a kind of a shakeup, and we started taking this, video stuff a little too seriously. Like I was the writer, right? I was writing these sketches, right? I would sit down and write down the idea, right? And then you swing the bat and hit me in the head. I wrote that. I'm a writer. That's my credit. I did it. So I started feeling like I couldn't. There were things that I wanted to do. There were skits and things that I thought were funny that maybe like my friends didn't think were funny, and so they wouldn't want to film them. So I'm like, this is fucking stupid. I need to find the video. Like, some of this stuff I'm okay with, like, putting out there. I might put it on Cola Incorporated if I can find this stuff. But this was back in like 2002 or something like that, like a year after 9/11, where it was like totally okay to be just absolutely Islamophobic, and this is my blackface, okay? This is my blackface moment. This is my Justin Trudeau blackface moment. There's a video out there of me and my friend Casey, and we're both wearing ponchos, and it's a cover. It's like a robe, and I am wearing a literal towel on my head like a turban, and Charlie's sister was like a baby at this point. So Casey is wearing an actual diaper because, they were called head diapers as a racist epithet back then. So he's wearing an actual diaper on his head. And we're hashing out, like, we're playing these two characters that are like plotting to flood the American market with like counterfeit Pokemon cards so we can make millions of dollars with our scam. And we actually named these characters, and I shouldn't say this, but I'm still proud of what I came up with. The character I was playing, his name was Mohammed M. Mohammed, and Casey's character was Muhammad M. Muhammad. And fucking 23 years later, still funny. I still think I'm still pleased with that. I probably shouldn't admit to that, but that's fucking Kino. Criterion Collection shit I'm talking here. So that's where I got my start, doing video stuff. But RFSHQ needed a web series. And, you know, what else am I going to call it but the Radio F Show? Easy, right? It's my own thing. I'm breaking away. It's like, you know, it's like the breakup of the Beatles, right? You know, going on to do their own things. I'm calling the shots now. This is the Radio F Show, and I started working on it with my brother Reflex appears in the show as a very young child. And Casey appears in it, and then later my friend Jason kind of took over. We did 52 episodes of the Radio F Show, and 51 of them were released. The 52nd one, technically it's not a premiere, as this video has been up for a while, but it will be streamed tonight. We will be seeing it. It's kind of sort of a never-before-seen episode. Started the show in 2004, and one of the first things I did is I started kind of recycling the stuff I made the years prior with the shows called Code BS, was the web series that we shared on Kazaa. And some of the first few episodes I did was just me doing the stuff I'd already written for the other show, but just doing it again my own way, and just kind of reshooting things. We did things in blocks of 10 episodes. 10 episodes was a season. And it made it to 5. And you might be saying, Draco, you said there's 51 episodes. What happened? Okay. So, I got a shitty little webcam that filmed at like 4 frames a second. Did not have a built-in microphone. So in these early videos, I'm wearing a clip-on mic. Which you can see. It's like the worst lavalier mic you've ever seen. And I'm filming it at my desk. Because you can't take this camera and move it somewhere. Everything I did had to be done at my desk. So, we filmed it there. And then we filmed 11 episodes at my desk until all of a sudden I decided to go out and buy a digital camera. Hang on. I might still have this camera. Oh, shit. I bought this. I spent in 2004, I spent like $350 fucking dollars on this camera. And this is a Samsung Digimax 301. Guys, we're talking 3.2 megapixels. That's 3 1/5. Okay? Other brands, Nikon, fucking Kodak was probably making these too. Look, they stop you at 3. Samsung is like, technology's really not there yet, but we can do a little bit better for you. 3.2 megapixels. How about that? So we had, oh, there's still fucking batteries in this. Does it turn on? Oh, this isn't. Oh, wait. This survived Harvey. This got wet in Harvey, and it... Uh-oh. It does... I mean, it powered on. The screen came on the back. Alright. We're taking 1,600 by 1,200 size pictures here. There's no memory card in this. It takes an SD card. Non-SD, I think the highest it can take is like 64 megabytes. 38 pictures. It can't even make it to 40. It can hold 38. Is there anything on this? No, there's nothing on it. But if we roll this little thing over to video. No video. Oh, this is not liking this. It's kind of fucky. Filming at, hang on, what quality setting are we on? No, that's sharpness. Oh, okay. We can record at high quality, which is 20 frames a second, or low quality, which is 15 frames a second. If we film it at 20, I can hold 59 seconds worth of video on the internal memory. Or if we crank it down to low, we get a minute 23. But yeah, I bought that camera, and we just decided that episode 10 was going to be 10A and 10B, and then 11 we started with the new camera. And the first thing I did is I filmed myself playing Atari 2600 games with it, because I made the joke that this was in high definition, and then we go play these old ass games. Yeah, whatever. So we kept that camera. We did 40 more episodes with this camera, and I bought, I think, a 32 megabyte SD card when I bought that camera. 32 megs, I think that cost me close to $100 when I bought this camera. So the camera was like $350, $400, and the SD card was another $100 on top of that. And you could, like, fucking $8 at the Walmart gets you like a 64 gigabyte no-name brand flash drive. Back then, 20 years ago, you wanted 32 megs? That's a Benjamin, okay? Shit don't come cheap. And I think having that memory card in the camera gave us like 4.5 minutes worth of footage, right? So anytime we took this somewhere and filmed things, we had to get it done in less than 5 minutes. That's all we could do. So we went out there and filmed, like, most of the stuff was filmed multiple times at different times, and we strung it all together. I would like to prime you guys. We're about to watch it's like 44 minutes. We're going to pause it at moments so I can tell you more about the insight and the behind the scenes and the making of. We're going to watch something I put together called The Least Worst of the Radio F Show. Because as the creator of the series, I do not believe the best of the Radio F Show exists. There is only the least worst. Okay? So here's something I didn't tell you. We created the Radio F Show in a time before YouTube. And there really wasn't a place to host videos. The servers for the RFSHQ website, like Goose, like, we didn't have the space and we didn't have the bandwidth. You still had to pay for it back then. So my ISP, my parents had at the time, was Yahoo. And as Yahoo subscribers, we got something called the Yahoo Briefcase, which is a file hosting service. And we had 50 megabytes of storage space that we could use to post. It's basically, it worked kind of like Dropbox. You could upload stuff to it, and maybe it's more like OneDrive. Because if you change it on your, like, you had to upload it. You didn't just edit on your local computer. And so it was more like OneDrive, I guess. So we had 50 megabytes. So I had to, like, really compress. Thankfully, there was a thing in Windows Movie Maker where you could actually tell it the file size you wanted to output to, and the system would automatically calculate the compression needed to hit that mark. So some episodes, like the longer ones, were really compressed compared to the shorter ones. And you know, should I read the? Okay, you know what? I think we should watch the episode first, and then I'll pause it, and then I'll talk about what you just saw. Does that work? All right. Thanks for checking out this video by Gatorbox. To see more videos like it, please subscribe to the channel. You can also support this project financially at patreon.com/Gatorbox. You can also follow us at twitch.tv/Gatorbox to catch us live every Friday night at 9 p.m. Central Time for our main show. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.